in here. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so we're started on the truth about our Earth journey. I'm very, very excited about this because actually it's been the call for me lately to kind of go a little bit more quiet and come in and just not force anything and just do what is called, what is asked of me, I guess. And this is it. This was the thing. I was actually in the bath, which is my place. This is my place where everything comes through, all the channels come through and things. And I was in the bath, and all of a sudden I had a bunch of this information drop in. And this is stuff like our Earth journey is something that I've been tracking for some time now. And those of you who are familiar with me, you know how it is, and you know that this is something that I've had a lot of interest in. So that being said, I had a new level of awareness come in when I was in the bath the other day, and it was interesting. And I will be real with you, I did have a good cry, because it was just really powerful what came in. And then after that, I'm scrolling through some things and I'm on social media and I found this beautiful post that I want to share with you guys. I'm going to read it to you and then I'll tell you kind of where, I don't know if it's this person's original quote type situation, but I'll tell you where I found it. Okay, so we're going to touch on why Earth, why now, of all the times to come, why now. Maybe a little bit about past lives we'll also discuss as well. We're going to talk about like system collapse, what's going on with the abundance stuff right now. What is going on with abundance? Why is it a little bit different to navigate finances right now, and so on and so forth. So we're really gonna tune in and cover a lot of different things. Also, some stuff about Mother Earth slash Gaia and what's going on with her. Okay, guys, if you're here, if you're watching live, because I can see some more lovely people have joined us, then if you have any questions while I'm talking, you want to know a little bit more, I didn't touch on something you're curious about, just comment it. I can see your guys' comments right in the chat. So comment it and I will take a look. I'll remember to take a look. Okay, so let's get started. So first things first, and I want you guys to just like take this and anything I say throughout this live, I want you to take it and just see how your body feels about it, see how your energy field feels about it, and then do with it what you will. If it doesn't resonate, that is okay. All right. So I'm gonna give you this short little sequence, and I want you to see how it hits your body. Okay. So cosmic humanitarian mission. So when we're thinking why Earth, and you are hit with cosmic humanitarian mission, just receive that. Like, how does that make you feel? What does that bring forward for you? So basically, I'll tell you what I always knew to be truth from what I had connected with spirit on, remembering my own journey and things like that, at a soul level, connect with my higher self and all that good stuff. So I've always known that coming to Earth for many, many, many souls, especially those of us who are called to this type of spirituality and just higher learning, more knowledge, awareness, right? Is that's what you come to Earth to. It's for soul evolution, it's for soul growth. Like, you come here and you're doing the work when you come here, and it's beautiful evolution. It's something that you can achieve here more than anywhere else from what I've found. And yes, when I'm talking about anywhere else, I'm talking about different dimensions, different planets, different all the things, right? So that's what I've always known to be true, is that coming to Earth is a next level soul evolution. Okay. But outside of that, it's something that, like, in regards to emotions, we experience emotions quite different here. Whether that's in relation to our emotional intelligence, because as human beings, we experience and we feel things quite differently than other collectives. Many other collectives, I should say, not all. And because of that, we tend to feel really, really hard and really strong. And we feel love like no other that I have experienced in my journeys through connection with my higher self and so on and so forth. So we experience this journey of emotions throughout our earth experience very, very intensely. And that in and of itself is beautiful, especially when you look at love. Like, I was sitting back, actually, someone else was driving, mostly my husband was driving the car, and I was thinking, because this is what I do at all times, I'm always thinking about all these existential things. I was thinking to myself, I was like, maybe I will come back to earth if that's a possibility for me. And that's something that never would have crossed my mind before, especially when we're going through what we're going through in the world right now. I would never have really thought that I was gonna come back to earth. That would not have been my initial, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And but I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, I think I would really love to come back here, like come back to this space and experience this, because look at how you get to feel love. And I know some of us were going through our own journey with that. Sorry, my nose ring is making me crazy. um, I know we're all going through our own journey with that, and it's a little bit of like, sometimes we experience it more than other times in our lives. Sometimes we feel like we're not experiencing it, but love is something that is so beautiful. And if I could come back as a human being with at least a little more knowledge coming in, and we're going to talk about that, like amnesia, when you come through and how you forget a lot of things and this and that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if I could come in with a little bit of like remembrance of that's my purpose, is just to find and feel and nurture love, that would just be really beautiful. And not worry about like the money stuff and this and that and the other thing, right? So I actually sat down and was like, oh, maybe I'll come back. Maybe I will. If I come back with all my favorite people, my soul family, which generally we do, and we will talk about that a little bit as well. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit more, because now we know kind of my original beliefs about our earth journey. And I will say now, so and that's what we're going to dive into now, is the more to the story, the new information, the new downloads that came through to me as of recently. So why earth? Well, why earth? I just told you those are a couple of reasons, but there's actually more to it. So we came in, actually, let's backtrack a little bit. We actually received a call. So wherever we're at, we're a soul on maybe on a different planet, in a different dimension, doing whatever we're doing, a parallel timeline, whatever you were doing before you came here. We're living our life, however that looks, probably much different than this life. And there's almost like it's whatever you kind of call them. And I want to be like careful with what I say with this, because take with it what you will, but there's like the Galactic Federation of Light, and there's a lot of different names for it, but essentially there is this, we'll call it like a council, the boardroom, not that governs, but that kind of just has a lot of like insight and sharing knowledge. And that's kind of what they did, is they sent out like a, hey, this collective on this planet, they're in self-destruction mode. They're not like heightening their vibration. They're moving through some really stagnant, even negative energy. Like, we need a shift. This planet needs a shift, because otherwise it's kind of got to be in like a state of it needs to be repaired. Like, people need to be kind of like activated and awakened, but it's just not happening at the rate that they wanted it to, and is actually going a little bit further into like decline and just all that negative energy. And so like basically, and we got to be careful with the words we use, because we don't want to latch on to like martyr or savior, but really kind of like a rescue mission. And then there became this opportunity for souls who felt really called to basically just leave everything they knew in the life that they were living behind, to basically come and help human beings, which is kind of beautiful. And I knew the moment I was going to start talking about this, I was going to get some interference. So now I'm going to have a coughing fit, but that's fine. Because this stuff is not necessarily like we don't all know these things. I didn't know this stuff until it came into my field. And so relaying the information can sometimes upset some things. Okay. See if I can keep my field under control here while I'm doing this and holding space. Okay. Okay, I see some more of you are joining us too. Hi guys. Okay, so it is essentially like a rescue mission, and what I said earlier, like that cosmic humanitarian mission. Um you had the decision, were you someone who felt called to go and help these beings? Were you called felt Did you feel called to go and experience some crap, some turmoil, and of course we're experiencing life and all the things that are going on in our world right now, but you have to remember there were lots of other times here on earth that were quite trying. That you might have been a part of as well. You might have been a part of the raising the vibration through those different periods of time, as well as this, in addition to this, right? Or maybe you just came through for this. Those integrated human beings, which I know there's some of you in here, those really integrated human beings. So those are souls that have been humans for multiple lifetimes, are probably the souls that were like, yeah, I'm committing to like helping earth, and I'm going to come in here and here and here through these crazy things, and I'm going to help raise the vibration of this planet and the collective. And in that case, you, like, huge thank you. I have a whole new respect for these people, and yeah, I was one of them. I don't have as many as some of the wonderful beautiful people I have met lifetimes here on earth, but it's no easy task. The work that we do here on earth. And so we right now with this specific mission, though, there was almost like an additional call out, because this is, I don't want to like take away from all the other experiences that human beings have had here on earth, but this one is like turning everything up on its head again, and so it's huge. And so there was kind of like another call out. And if you were a soul that was like, yeah, I'm coming to earth, I'm going to help these people, whether it's now or multiple times, it's huge. You got to think of it like like a soldier, really. Like, you look at our human experience here and you look at like war and things like that. Hopefully I don't get flagged for saying that word. But we leave everything behind to go and help, well, what we feel is helping, right? Helping these people, helping bring peace. And essentially that's what we're doing here. Essentially, you, especially if you're called to this, if you're called to the spiritual realm in any way, shape, or form, you are one of these people. You're a light worker of some sort, or a healer of some sort, or someone who just puts out beautiful energy. You have a purpose here, and part of your purpose, every single one that came for this specific mission, this humanitarian mission here on earth, is meant to help or bring some kind of light to this planet or people within the planet. Sorry. And it's not it's not like the savior and the martyr necessarily, but it is, and we don't want to attach to that, but it is huge. It is a big deal. And so coming through and deciding that you're going to do this, and then you create, so that's what I call like our source point for this extension of ourself, for our human extension of ourself. So that would be the soul, the aspect of your soul that decided, I'm going to come in and help earth, and then created this life because we made the choices for how we were going to come in, our family, our soul family that was going to come through, our living guides, which are like loved ones. Animals are often living guides. There's also our spirit guides, right? The guides, like our friends in other realms and other dimensions and things like that, that are coming through for us to help us in this life, because we didn't come in to do this on our own. Absolutely not. So we've had the opportunity to have like pick our people. What is our life going to be like? Who are our parents going to be like? Who are our children going to be like? What struggles are we going to go through? And that's where, for those of you who are familiar with me and what I do, that's the soul blueprints that I do, right? That's like your past lives, your gifts in this life. It's basically to help you bring through a little bit of your soul blueprint information and just keep bringing it through, opening that pathway so that you can relieve yourself of that layer of amnesia almost that when we are born or portal into this earth realm, right? Because when we're younger, it's almost like we have access until from about 7 to 9. we have or sorry, like 0, we come out the womb, we have access, but then 7 to 9, sometimes things kind of shut down and you don't have as much access to your soul blueprint or what it is you came here to do. That amnesia though, like fully kicks in unless you keep it awake and aware, or your parents really help nurture that, keep you awake and aware of and you're kind of like your lensing activated and on, then you might shut it down. And that's why we have some issues with memory and things like that as a child. Um, and then there's also a lot more to that too. And I don't think we're gonna fully touch in on um, the star seed kind of situation here, but essentially, if you're here, you are likely a starseed. You are likely a starseed soul. And if you're curious about that, we can always touch on it a little bit more in a different video, or you can search it up. There's a lot of, well, I shouldn't say there's a lot of information on it because there's not tons of information, but there is some if you look in all the good little corners. But I can always touch on it too further in a different video. But essentially, you have all this information and all these different lifetimes outside of the human realm that you kind of just leave behind once you portal through Earth, because you don't have access to that information as much due to this, like some people call it the amnesia veil. And so we kind of lose a lot of that information, or not lose it, almost like blocked from it. And what individuals like us do who are actively working on our healing and trying to better ourselves is we open up those channels and our lensing and our awareness to be able to bring through more of that information. And that is what I call like downloading more of your soul blueprint, which is, oh, it's exciting. It's a lot of information, but it's really good. And usually we get it in like a trickle, like a doop, 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 like you'll get some things here and there when you're really in alignment, or you can get a soul blueprint reading. I know a few individuals that offer similar readings to that, to the ones that I do, which are, I don't know. I can't pull my own through, but I love pulling others through. Yeah. So we come in and we go through that veil. Essentially, we don't have a lot of information. We kind of forget what we came here to do, but not for very long and not completely, because we have our guides. We have our living guides, like our pets and things like that. We have our like soul family that comes in throughout our life. And soul family is essentially not necessarily your blood family. Oftentimes they're friends, and they come in and you just know, you feel like you've known them forever. You can talk to them about anything. It's like a very beautiful relationship, oftentimes very equal in regards to like energy exchange. So they're not someone who's necessarily going to drain you, especially not for like, they may go through something where they're navigating like a lesson for themselves, and that could be draining. But overall, generally the relationship is quite supportive to your journey and yours to theirs. And so we come in and then we find our soul family and we connect with our guides, which again, not so easy. I was raised, I wouldn't say raised, I guess as I was growing up, I was well aware that I had so much interest in like intuitives and psychics and mediums especially. And I was like, oh, I wish I had that ability. I thought it was something that you had to have naturally, that you were well aware of from like a small age. And I didn't really develop that. You can absolutely develop it. I did have some things come forward for me at a very young age. I didn't even realize though that they were like intuitive abilities at that time. And so I was not thinking along that path until I saw dead people. And then I was thinking along that path. But yeah, so we might feel as though we can't develop things further, and we absolutely can. That's something that I have done throughout my journey. I have helped other people do through teaching the different things that I do. But yeah, so essentially we can develop that. And then we came here essentially to be like light for this planet, to be pillars, to help trigger people into doing their own healing, to help activate that intuitive, that connection to higher self, that connection to spirit, like even this. And if there's any of you that are in here who are not into like, are just maybe coming into this realm of things, well, you're probably recently awakened, I hate that word, but recently awakened to this kind of this experience. And this is a ripple, right? You might go and talk to your friend about it, and then it carries on and it ripples out and it ripples out. It's very easy for it to ripple. And we've seen so much shifting of Gaia, also known as Mother Earth, especially in the last couple years. we've seen so much shifting. And right now, I'll actually tie into that a little bit, that the abundance stuff that's going on and how there's a lot of lack energy and it feels a little bit uncomfortable, is because Gaia's vibration is increasing so much and so rapidly, and so is yours and so is mine and everybody else who's working on their stuff right now. It's increasing so much that we're kind of seeing like things are it's a little bit more of a struggle to sync up, I guess you could say. So the vibration and the frequency of money and Gaia and yourself, it's all changing so rapidly right now that we're finding it a little bit more difficult to meet up and sync up so that there can be some harmony there and we can bring that through. But manifestations are still like, they're still working. Manifestations are still working. I actually think I did a video on it, and maybe you can see it on my channel, but I did a video on like that really quick manifesting things in a short period of time, which I am still actively doing, and so are a lot of my clients, and it is working. I had a client actually just this week who did some really, really quick manifesting. It was a beautiful and amazing. So that's kind of what's going on with abundance. What I do want to mention now, which is really interesting, because not only has this humanitarian mission with Earth helped our planet and human beings, it has also helped other collectives, other planets, other beings, almost, what's the word? Like, feel the call. It really has lightened things up, opened minds, changed some more nefarious collectives from, and shifted them a little bit more into the lighter, more beautiful and positive energy, which is incredible. It's done wonders for the universe in general. Like, that is also something that's really beautiful about the and unique about the Earth experience, is that this experience has not only helped us, but we've seen it ripple out into to all the realms, to all the things. It's hitting the far dark corners, right? Like, it's so beautiful, and I think that's why it was so important, for I guess you could call it the council, to not give up on this planet and not kind of restart things and refresh. It was important for that growth, and to know that you are a part of that journey. It doesn't matter necessarily where you originate from and what gender you are or what you love or how you feel about this or that or how polarizing things are. What matters is that you are here. You are here now. You are a part of this. You are doing the work. You get to experience this love, this joy. It's almost like, that's why it's so important to sit and observer. It's almost like we're living out a movie, and really, with everything going on, we are, and we just get to witness it and experience it, and it's beautiful. And I will talk about that in another video. I think I would love to. An awesome intuitive individual and I were talking about connecting on and tracking the differences between like males and females, because you see female individuals in this realm of spirituality and talking about this stuff and intuition quite a bit more than you see males at this time, but they are having a big activation as well. So it's so incredible and it's so interesting, and there's more to everything, right? I did want to touch a little bit, and I'm going to be careful with the words that I use because I don't want this to get flagged. But I do want to touch a little bit on like certain leaders of certain countries, and like some fear surrounding it and some feelings towards one or the other. And I just want to give you this, plain and simple. It doesn't matter if whatever the person is doing has any nefarious intentions behind it or really great intentions and pure intentions. It doesn't matter who is doing what or who is the face of what. The only thing that matters right now is that that individual or those individuals are creating a catalyst to have the things go on in the world that we require. And they are. So we have to remove our feelings about a certain individual or individuals. We need to be able to sit back, witness it, and just know that what's happening right now is for the greater good. Whether I agree with this individual or not, it really doesn't matter. Watch it play out. Everything is happening as it should. And I hope that gives you guys some peace of mind. And it might be a little bit of a trigger. It might be like, oh, this person is absolute trash or this person is amazing and, XYZ, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that things are happening the way that they should be. And that's all that we need to worry about. And we just need to hold on to the timeline of the highest potential timeline, really, for us and our experience here on Earth. Okay. I wanted to touch on this a little bit as well. Okay, well, what's the benefit to us for coming here and kind of working on this humanitarian mission on Earth? What's the benefit? Um, the benefit is the benefit is that we have the evolution that I talked about right at the beginning of the video. We have this beautiful soul growth and evolution. We're a part of something bigger for not only Earth and the collective of human beings, but for the universe, or as some would say, the multiverse. And so we're just part of this bigger thing, and it's not like we're gonna get this major sum of money at some point. I mean, maybe if we manifest, but it's a little more internal than that, right? It's a little more for our own experience and for our own growth, um, which is the best form of payment we could receive, I feel. Um, yeah, there's a few more things I want to talk about, but I don't want to talk too long. I don't want to like bore you guys with all my things, but I do want to read you something, and this is something that really hit me. It really hit me in my feels. I'm not gonna lie. I want to read you something, and I want you to just like absorb it and see how it feels. And if you're just popping in here, you might want to watch the rest of the video and then come back to this. But it says here, many of you will find Earth life overwhelming, restrictive, unfair, exhausting, and at times lonely. You may want to leave early. You will experience times of depression and despair. You will feel different to most people, like an alien. So I want to touch on that real quick. That loneliness or that longing for home, this is our current home. And we have a lot of our people here with us. But that longing for home is because you also have other homes, right? Or at least one other home that you did leave behind for this experience and to help this collective, and in turn, a lot of other collectives. Volunteers and evolved beings will be distributed all over Earth in disguise to create and illuminate grids of light. That's where I think a lot of the term light worker comes from, which I didn't even know this when I picked that name however many years ago. You will recognize each other if you pay attention. You will be inserted into all walks of life, from the brightest healers to the darkest places you could imagine. So it's not just individuals that do what I do, or readers, or people that are in the metaphysical world very openly that are doing this work and that came here on this mission. It's also those in all other walks of life, all different places, right? The whole multiverse will be watching you disassemble the old ways and raise the frequencies of Earth. Trillions of unseen souls will be observing and sending light. You will return home. This is something take with it what you will. Take with it what you will. But you will return home a celebrated veteran of hero of Earth's great awakening. A lot of people I've noticed been using that word, great awakening, with what's going on here on Earth. But it won't be easy. You'll be made to forget your true origin, and most of your gifts and abilities will be restricted, including your memory, which we kind of already discussed. It says here, if you're reading these words, you already made the brave decision to incarnate. We're all just walking each other home at this point. Beautiful, brave comrades. Stand in your power, use your voice, shine your light. But the really interesting piece on that one, and the thing within there that like made me feel a little something was the we're all just walking each other home at this point, because we're coming into the final really big push for human beings on Earth and the determination of if we're going one way or another. And it's looking good. It's looking good. And so, like, I know as well that there's a lot of people that are leaving this earth realm right now. There's a lot of animals, there's a lot of human beings, there's a lot of illness, and it's a lot of souls are choosing to exit at this time, and that's okay because their mission, their journey is done, right? Like they wouldn't be leaving otherwise. But there's a lot of people feeling a lot of things right now. There's a lot of feelings and a lot of healing, and in turn a lot of vibration raising. And I just want it to be known that like there's so much more to it. It's very beautiful, even if it doesn't feel that way. Your experience here is very beautiful, even if it doesn't feel that way. And that is something that at some point you will be able to reflect on and really be able to appreciate if you don't already. But also, this is not our forever space. And we do, once we've completed our job here, our mission here, we still carry on, right? So I'm curious to know with you guys, and you guys can message me or we can chat about this because I know there's a few of you who I've already been discussing some of this with. We can chat about what, like, how this really makes you feel. Does it resonate? Like, did you come here? Do you feel as though you came here as a volunteer to help this planet? And if you did, then some of the things that are going to be really common for you are like always feeling like you need to help people, always feeling like you need to be doing something. Like, what do I need to be doing? How can I help this? How can I help that? What can I do to make things better? Even if it's just for yourself or for your kiddos or for your spouse or for your community, it's always going to ripple out. It's always going to ripple out further than you think it is. And wanting and needing a little bit of validation on your journey is not a bad thing, because we don't have that direct access to our soul blueprint like we are used to in other experiences. So even if you're bringing it in, there's still like, am I doing the right thing? Like, hey, guides, like, am I doing the right thing? Like, should I be doing something different? And that's where like pulling cards, asking for guidance, working with healers, working with readers. That's why we're here. We're here to help each other, right? And the more that you put into this experience, the more you're going to get out of it. I truly believe. Also, something I want to bring up as well as those of us who are on this journey specifically is that comfortability is not something that you should regularly experience. We are meant to be growing. We are meant to be doing things that are slightly uncomfortable and sometimes majorly uncomfortable to grow. So if you're sitting in a space of just like, meh, I'm good, I'm comfortable, you're probably stagnant. And that's not a space you want to be in. You want to be in a space of growth, right? We'll have those waves, but if you're just comfortable and you've been comfortable, that's stagnancy. And you got to move through that. There's so much more that I could sit and talk about. I could talk about this forever, but I did want to give you guys kind of some, I guess, of the little crumbs that came through for me when I was channeling. I wanted to give you the pieces that spoke to me the most and that really resonated, that I was like, oh, I feel like if someone else were to hear this, okay, this makes sense. Like, this is why I came here. This is why I'm here. Because I know for myself as well, there's been a number of times where I have sat there and been like, what am I doing here? Like, I know there's more. I know there's a greater purpose. I know this, I know that. But why the heck am I here for this? And your part doesn't have to be some crazy, massive, world scale part. It can be something as small as you help one person. And that is, maybe that's your entire purpose. And then after that, your purpose is to just have fun and love and live. And that alone will ripple out the good vibes, the high vibes, the higher frequency. So yeah, I think that's it for what I'm going to touch on today. Oh no, there's one whole thing I wanted to bring up that I didn't touch on. Just kidding. We're going to talk about more. If you are like, okay, I'm tapped out, this is a lot of info for my brain, that's okay. Come back and watch this after. It'll be reposted. I do want to talk a little bit on, again, like some more what's going on in our world right now things. And I want to talk a little bit about system collapse. I've been talking about this and giving energy updates on this for some time now, like probably easily 2 years, because we're going to start to see a lot of systems collapse. Some have already collapsed behind the scenes that we're not even necessarily fully aware of. But I want to talk a little bit more about this system collapse, because we're not necessarily going to see things crumble before our eyes in a really physical, tangible way. What we are likely going to see a little bit more so is our own beliefs and realizations and awareness changing and amping up and turning on. And that is where we're going to see a lot of that collapse. Because even for myself, I've noticed lately that a lot of my clients are really struggling, like with like motivation pieces and, really like launching things and getting things going and moving and cleaning and just doing the things, even bringing in abundance at this time of year. And where I am in Canada, it's freezing freaking cold out, and it has been for a hot minute. And there's snow, and it's like this is just a time, especially where we are on this planet, on this side of Earth. We are meant to be slower moving at this time. It's meant to be quieter. It's meant to be more internal, self-work, reflective, working on like rest and rejuvenation, instead of that like go, go, go energy so much and like launching things. And that's where, for me, I recognize that. And I've been saying I gotta like have a week where I do absolutely nothing, but that's not necessarily the case. It's just that I'm meant to be doing things that only really light me up and fill my cup, and not necessarily going outside of that, like stopping when it's time to stop. Okay, so that's where we're going to see that collapse. It's going to be a little bit more internal, and then as that ripples out and more people are like, oh, I want to follow my own biological clock. I want to follow my own intuitive, my energetic things that are telling me, oh, I need to do this at this time. Or instead of like that grind, that 9 to 5, that I have to be doing this and I have to be doing that because society tells me I have to be doing that. It's more of like, okay, I'm going to make my own decisions for myself. I'm going to step out of this whole, like, all of these societal norms and projections and expectations, and live the way that feels best for me and my family. And it's all about kind of releasing all of the societal stuff that we're plugged into. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some like especially in like the medical fields and things like that, there's a lot of beautiful stuff that we can pull and take from that. But there's also a lot of stuff that's just not going to serve you, and it might serve you and it might not serve me, and it might serve me and it might not serve you. And there's just like, you have to listen to yourself, your intuition. It's all about connecting with your body more. It's all about connecting with Gaia a little bit more, and following the seasons, like looking at the cycles. There's this panic about climate, and there's this panic about this and this panic about that, but Gaia is a living force, is a living energy. We experience cycles. Look at ourselves. We experience cycles very regularly. So does Gaia. And so like going through these cycles is totally normal. It's something that we like, it's very normal to our experience here on Earth. So we need to focus on really connecting in with things and our cycles and Gaia's cycles, and syncing things up and moving with the energy the way that it's meant to be moved with, instead of being put in this box and doing as we're told, right? This whole like idea of being told what to do and being governed was created by ourselves. We did that. We created that. We were like, we came in missing a lot of the pieces, right? And so we are looking for that direction, or looking for that validation. And so we created it. We created the systems we have in place now. Who better to tear them down than the people who created them? And not only that, the awareness that we are the ones who created them, and that we have the power to just decide to step out of them and disconnect. And not having to, there's so much fear, right? About like, oh, if I step outside of the norm and I'm not making this money and I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that, then like I'm a failure or I can't live life without money. And people are working around it, guys, and it's happening a lot more. It's happening a lot more. There's a lot of change, and even something for myself. Um, is I've had a couple people like over the years doing what I'm doing, want to like trade services or products and things like that. And previously I've not really been like, it just didn't feel good to me. It didn't feel aligned. And now I'm actually going to launch this whenever it feels aligned, but probably this week. I want to open up to like offer my services, my sessions, my healing services, whatever, and exchange or trade products or services, because that used to be the norm. That used to be the norm. We used to trade things. That was the thing, right? Like, and money was not such big importance. And we really need to work with that. We really need to work with the idea of like money and finances and finding different ways and doing different things. We also need to really release our fear of debt, or like owing people money and things like that. I mean, if you owe a friend money, you pay that person back or you do something, but I'm talking about like banks. If you are like, oh, you have to use your line of credit this month, just try and create that that's a wrongness or that that's bad, or, you're not paying off everything that you wanted to pay off. You really need to start releasing that, because I do want to let you know that the financial stuff is not necessarily going to get better just yet. So we need to kind of be working through our things with money really actively right now. We can still manifest. That's important. And manifesting is important, and getting really intentional is important. But in regards to collectively, the money stuff is gonna like it's so it's still gonna take a bit before it turns itself back on the right direction, let's say. And that's not a fear thing. What I'm telling you is you are capable of clearing through some things, working through some things, releasing some things. If you have debt, don't panic. Don't panic. Things are they're gonna take a turn in some time, but also look at other ways and alternative ways. Maybe you plant a garden. I don't know. Just things like that are like, okay, make some change. Make some change. We are adjusting, because we really have to look at our priorities. We have to look at our needs versus wants. We have to look at what actually lights us up, what gives us really short, instant gratification versus things that are long term, bringing us peace and happiness and joy, right? So we need to release the things that are very short. They're very short lived excitement, or the really really important things right now are things that make memories, things that human beings get to experience that are kind of unique and fun and beautiful, and your needs. Obviously your needs need to be met, you need to be fed, you need to be watered, but even that is changing a lot for people too. But anyways, it's really about prioritizing now, and prioritizing without allowing yourself to really sit in that lack energy, because that's not a good space for anyone to be in long term, especially prioritizing without sitting in that lack energy. Like for instance, okay, so I have jaw problems, and it cost an arm and a leg to get like some injections here. Like it was quite expensive. And I was like, "Oh no, I don't wanna do that." I don't like spending money on myself, especially. And so, I was like, "Okay, universe, if this is important, if I require this, if I need this for my experience, then let's bring that money back around." And then this is that, like, quick manifesting that I talked about a little bit earlier. And sure enough, I think it was within 2 days, within 48 hours, I had all the funds, and I said by the end of the weekend, and so it worked. I had all the funds that I needed to do that. And then in my brain, I was like, "Oh, but now I have, like, that money to spend on XYZ." No, it was for a specific reason. So, yeah, so we still can manifest, we still absolutely can, and if you're unsure and you're feeling like, "Oh, I don't know what my priorities are or should be," there's lots of awesome people that I could connect you with. Um I know some lovely humans that have really good programs with like breaking down financial stuff and like helping with budgets and things like that and just breaking things down. So if you're looking for someone, I have someone. But yeah, it's really just figuring out and prioritizing your finances and what it is, how where things are meant to go, and what's important to you and what's not, what you can release. If you have something big, like you want to take your children to Disney World in a year or two, really like prioritizing and then manifesting so that you can bring that in, right? If that feels important and that's a beautiful thing of memories for you, it's not a wrongness. It is a want, but it is a want that will bring you joy and peace and passion. And like I said earlier, that's important. So, and you got to experience the human things. But this time in our experience is also going to help us have a lot of appreciation for things more so connected to Gaia, like connecting to nature, going to the beach, going to, like just really enjoying the things that our earth provides us. Okay, now I think I covered everything that I wanted to talk about. So essentially, in very short form, the truth about our earth journey is that a lot of us here, especially all of us that are called to this, in this video specifically, are here for a mission to lighten the load, to lighten the world, this planet, the individuals that are here, and help us raise our vibration. Some of us think it's like I shouldn't say some of us think. Some of us use the term ascend, right? Essentially, that is accurate. And really, just we came here to help. And so if your call is like, I don't know what I'm meant to be doing, I just feel like I need to be helping or like I have a greater purpose. Duh, you do. And helping is I grew up saying, I don't know really what I want to do, but I just know like I want to help people. And this is the way that I'm meant to help people. For now, things change, things shift. But yeah, long story short, that's that. The rest of it is all a little bit more of an energy update. But I hope this gave you a little bit more insight and peace of mind. If you guys have any questions, you can always message me. I'm on all social media. I'm Zen Mama Lightworker, but you can also email me at zenmamalightworker@gmail.com if you want to ask me some questions or connect on some things. And I guess I will mention, because I was not doing soul blueprint readings anymore, but then I did have someone that was really interested, and so I opened it up. So I have 4 more spots for March. So if you are interested in that, I can give you information on that as well, and I'll post it on my social media. But yeah, otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and thank you for joining me here. Bye, guys.